Hello, everybody. See if we can get up here. How is everybody doing today? Let's see everybody come in here. Hmm, on the docket today. Here. Can you all hear me all right? Someone put it in the chat if you can. What is up, party people? So today we're going to be going through, awesome. We're going to be going through the Landed Sites platform. We got a lot to go through. There's going to be, um, namely, our data platform that is in the spotlight today. But one thing I do want to do is navigate through how our data platform actually kind of works in tandem with our market research tool and why it's so powerful to have both. I think that is going to be pretty pivotal in your success using landed sites, and it's going to be one of the reasons why you should never sleep on this opportunity to interact with the platform. Because not only do we have this now, we have so much ahead of us. We have really the best community we could have ever asked for, the best community in the entire land investing space, in my opinion, and everybody's driving us forward with feedback. Right? There's always going to be tools out there uh, that have the desire to sell you on certain things, but truthfully, the reason why I have loved being a part of the Land Insights team and why even if I wasn't, I'd still be a Land Insights user is because we listen to feedback. It's the whole point. That's how everything was born here at Land Insights, and we're not going to stop delivering on that. So let's hop into it. Let's see what we can do here. I'm going to go ahead and present my screen. Awesome. Okay, so it looks like uh, we've got about 10 people in here. All 10 of you, you're going to want to stick around. But really, what I want to start out by saying is thank you for joining here. We want you to feel this confidence coming into Land Insights, and there is this kind of overwhelming sense of competition sometimes in the land space. So giving you the tools to kind of navigate around that really seamlessly and easily is super important. One of the coolest things that I've ever seen is breaking down all of the counties in the entire United States all at once and letting you actually filter through those counties, not just look at them and look at the data, but actually filter through different data points, customize your data points, come in here and actually choose what markets you want to filter with or what filter to using these data points, right? There's no other platform in the world that will let you do this. And being able to see all of these sold metrics, all of these sell-through rate metrics at once. I mean, these are things that used to take you 20 minutes, 30 minutes to find on one county just to figure out that you didn't like the county. So there is going to be a lot of leverage that you have by being able to see this I would say the click of the button, but it really is, it's easier than that. You're just hovering over these different markets. And so, this is something that should elevate you above your competition just so quickly in a market that clearly is kind of replicating what's happened with wholesaling. So here, being able to see this and see it so quickly, uh, it's going to allow you to start creating a competitive edge for your own business, but also start creating some strategy around what you see as a good market. Today, I'm not going to go into all the detail, but I do want to give you an A to Z understanding of how I would use the Land Insights platform for my own business when I'm looking to start out land investing. Right? If I've already started, maybe I've been doing this a long time, then this it might change. It might change a little bit. My strategy might be different. For me personally, I have my own way of using things that I've found is beneficial to my land business. But here, if we want to come in and just start looking around, the issue that we're going to run into is everything on this heat map is color coded because it's all being relatively heat mapped against each other. So Washington against Nebraska, Nebraska against Maine. All of these will create kind of misguidance in the data if we look at it based on this alone. Not only that, but we're looking at zero point 0.2 to 100 acres. I mean, that's infill lots, that's rural recreational, that's subdivided lots. There's so much included in this range, and then we're looking at active properties. So we want to make sure that we are really looking at a data set here that makes sense to do market research based off of. If for whatever reason we're looking at the wrong data or by the wrong data points, we're just not going to be looking at data points that make sense. Make sure. Can you all hear me right now? Let me make sure. It looks like you can. Cool. Awesome. So really, uh, where I want to focus is just one state at a time. I think that what we can do here is just let's look for a state that not a lot of people are in. I don't hear a lot of people talking about Oklahoma actually. I'm actually I'm actually curious about the Midwest, maybe Kansas, maybe Missouri, maybe even Arkansas. Let's look at Arkansas. Okay, awesome. All right. So thanks for hanging in with me here. As we find a state, I want to make sure that we have a good grasp on what we're looking for here. Right? Everybody's standard of good is different. Okay, and understanding what you're looking for is going to be the first step in going and pulling data for that market. The fact that you can do that all in one foul swoop and get maybe all of your markets done for this entire month, maybe the quarter even potentially, is super beneficial. Now, I don't recommend doing it all for the entire quarter if you don't have a massive team and you need to look at our updated data every single month. But what I could do here is now start looking at acreage ranges and heat maps that matter to me. If I want to see where things are moving the quickest in all of Arkansas, I can do that in the click of a button. If I want to see where there's the most volume, I can do that in the click of a button. And there's going to be correlations here between where places are moving the fastest. Some of these counties out here might not have that many comps, but if they do, then you have incredible opportunity when you see that there's hardly any other volume out here. You can also come in here and look at what's currently pending. Where are all the pending properties? Where's that current demand? So this is huge because not only now are you able to see this really in the snap of your fingertips, but you're really able to move further along than you could if you were using one third-party MLS platform like Redfin or Zillow, right? So this is something that you can now also delegate out. I mean, these are opportunities to buy back your time in ways you could have never even imagined before. Now that you're looking at the pending demand, right? Maybe we make a decision on a specific acreage range. I always love looking at the entire market before breaking it down further, but this is an opportunity to look at 5 to 100 acres, or if we did like 0.2 to 100 acres, we could do that. The only difference there is sometimes you have those info lots that are like hyper premium lots. We don't want to misguide ourselves with any data. So looking at 5 to 100, maybe 5 to 10,000 could do us a lot of good here in understanding where markets in Arkansas are doing really well. Now, I've never looked in Arkansas myself. Looking at Crawford County, Arkansas, I actually really like this county. This county is actually a perfect example of consistency, right? And we have over 40 data points for you to look at. So when you're looking at Land Insights data, and we're aggregating from multiple sources, you're able to see some of the most fresh data in the entire market today. And we're scrubbing out all those off-market leads or properties that would have skewed your understanding of what's happening in this market in terms of demand, but then also in terms of pricing. So we'll get to that in a second here. Just looking at Crawford County, I can see that the pending sell-through rate is 12%. That's pretty solid. To think that 12% of the entire market right now is currently under contract, it's moving pretty well. And if you think about a line of consistency, I mean, we're talking about seeing pending sell-through rate triple over the course of 3 months. The reason why I'm not looking at 1 month is because sometimes it's a little bit more variable than pending. But pending is going to show me what is under contract right now. If I can see that pending is at 12%, then I should see 3 months around 36%, something like that. And it's just going to continue to compound. So in 6 months, it's going to be around 70. 1 year, it should be around 120 to 130, right? So now we're really seeing some consistency, and it's hugging that line really well. I mean, I might not be seeing the 135 that I would see if it were 70% at 6 months. But the reason why this is so important is because now you can create a fine line in the sand of what is ideal, and you can deviate from that, whether it's better or worse. And if it's worse, just making sure you're not going too far low. As long as you're confident in that market and you feel like there's not that much competition there, that's an opportunity to win. While other people are looking at some of the most hot markets in other states, you can come over here and win in markets nobody's ever heard of. And it doesn't stop here at the county level, right? Like we might like Crawford County, might seem consistent. One of the things that we can do, though, is even break this down to the zip code level, or we could even go look at some filters and look for another county if we wanted to. Let's just say we went with Arkansas and Crawford County within Arkansas. Zip codes, we're going to go to our zip code view here, and then I'm actually just going to filter for Crawford County. I mean, this is just showing you the powerful tool that this is, really being able to see the breakdown of all of the comps in this market. There is more zip codes here. I almost guarantee it. Like, so if we see 1, 2, 3, 4, we come down here, look at all these zip codes. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're looking at around 10 zip codes, and yet you only see 4 here on the map. So what's that saying? Well, that's saying that basically half, if not more, of the zip codes in this market are not really doing well when it comes to pending sell-through rate. If we want to look by volume, we can switch this up. Boom, all of those other ones pop up. We can compare the volume. This can be an easy way to start segregating out our marketing campaigns to look at the proper zip codes, the ones that are performing or outperforming the rest. And just note, zip codes are going to have a little bit different of a view. The quantity of volume, it's going to be lower, but this is bananas. I mean, you can now all of a sudden find yourself looking at markets that no one else is really targeting, and you can double down in them with volume, with different marketing channels, and you can still get that breakdown of sell-through rate, of sold quantity. We can even go further once we've chosen that we liked Arkansas County and maybe liked all of these other zip codes. We can add those to our My Markets and just keep track of these. If we wanted to come back to these later or do a different type of analysis, we absolutely could. So I'm starting to like Crawford County. In this particular case, one thing that I want to do is just open up the county in its entirety within the data platform. Now, before I hop over to the data platform, I should mention we have so many other filters. If you have not booked a demo call, I do recommend going to landinsights.co and booking a demo call with our team. You can literally do this so quickly. And I know that our team, namely Pete, who you do your demo call with, is always going to be super eager to hop into this with you. I mean, he breaks this down super easily on how this is going to be a complete return on your investment 10 times over. And so highly recommend going and looking at that Calendly link, booking your call. Let me actually do this. Boom. I'm going to put this in here right now. There we go, people. If you don't have an exposure to Land Insights, you are missing out. Not only is it the absolute best tool on the market in terms of user experience, but it's the most catered, right? We will cater to you for the purpose of getting your business ahead of the competition. And the coolest thing about it is we grow with you. So, you might not need to go to this granular level, but you can. And initially, I know when I started, I was marketing to counties, and I was marketing countywide, and I was getting plenty of leads, and I was operating that way. But truthfully, over time, you start to want to double down on not only certain very specific spots, or remarketing to very specific counties or markets or zips, but you start to change your strategy a little bit because you find what works for you. You find what you prefer. And that is going to be one of the easiest ways to use Land Insights, because we not only have so many different tools that work with that change in your business, but it allows you to create SOPs around it all so that you are not feeling the weight of having to change your process and then upkeep an entirely new process. We're already saving you time, but this is just that way of leveraging Land Insights to better your operation. So lots here. I'm not going to go into all of it today, but I do want to hop over to our data platform. If I wanted to, I could even, while I'm looking at Arkansas and Crawford County here, even open that up in our data platform. It's going to open me up to a new tab. It'll get me started on my filtered parcels here, which is exactly what I want to do. If I were to look throughout all of Crawford County, we're looking at about 35,000 parcels. It's really important to know exactly what we want to target. So this is one of the coolest things about Land Insights, is I'm able to come in here and just start breaking down my data as straightforward as I can. There are some other providers out there that don't make it as easy, or it's more complex in terms of getting to my advanced filters and looking at all of these different data points that are blank. I know in another provider that I used, one of the things that I completely, it always confused me, was the fact that we had like 30 different data points that we could look at, but pretty much every parcel I ever looked at or opened, those cards don't actually have data. They're just blank, or they have these null lines. In Land Insights, we've gone ahead and prioritized the absolute highest leverage data points. We're continuously adding more. But I mean, this is an opportunity for feedback alone. If you had X, if you had Y, would that be valuable to you? That's the kind of stuff we want to hear. If you have feedback like that, if you have anything that you would prefer to see that maybe you don't see today, or questions, hit us up at hello@landinsights.co. Put a comment in the chat. More than happy to go answer your questions and touch on them in depth. Here, looking at Crawford County, Arkansas, 5 to 10 acres, we have 3,894 parcels. Now, if I wanted to go look at that list without doing anything else, no max improvement value, no out-of-state owners or out-of-county or out-of-zip, just nothing at all, I can click on that and see that exact list. If I want to look at any one of these properties, I can see their acreage here. I can always give them a click, view parcels, and it'll actually bring me right to it. So you can see this one is, it does happen to be on a road, and it still has a structure on it. So this is something that'll be really cool in the future. One thing that we're actually going to be rolling out soon is just our AI structure scrub, which is it's actually a toggle. So this is something that we'll toggle on so that this stuff is actually defaulted to just show you vacant land by default after you toggle it. That's going to be super useful so that it saves you time on trying to do some of the things that you normally would have, right? Like the max improvement value. The thing that I want to point out is that, in this particular case, this parcel, though it does have this structure, maybe at the county level, it has nothing about that. That's what I want to emphasize, is sometimes this max improvement filter is useful because at the county level, there's nothing here. It's null. And so being able to put 5 or anything under that is going to just completely help you filter your list more. I will kind of give you a disclaimer here, though. I love looking for large plots of land with a higher improvement percentage, because if you don't really care about the complexity of subdividing off a house, there is so much more room to play. I mean, these are places where nobody is doing anything, where no one's searching for deals, where no one is even considering working with these owners as a possibility. So keep that in mind as you look around. I mean, we can expand this search We can change things as we go, and you'll see how that affects everything here. Now, as we kind of make this search a little bit more tailored, no, you can also kind of include zip codes or exclude zip codes here. I'm interested in looking at the entire market today, but this is something that is going to be super useful. The provider I used previously did not allow me to actually include zip codes. It only allowed me to exclude zip codes. So in that situation, I'm not able to make a list of all the zip codes I like. But here in Land Insights, I already know the zip codes I like because I actually chose them. So, I can see a world where you're going in Land Insights market research platform and you're doing your due diligence on these counties and these zip codes. You come right over here, you choose those zip codes, and we pull them immediately. I mean, within seconds of deciding that's where we want to go. There's so many other things here that will help you. Our owner scrubs or our owner toggles, these search and filter criteria are super useful, right? If we don't put a minimum, it's going to do anything less than our max. If we do a minimum, it's going to do anything above our minimum. I love 6-month ownership. I think that's the most beneficial thing you could do, only because these owners recently got the property. It's possible that you capture them from a recent sale, but also from inheritance. And that is some of the most that list includes some of the most motivated folks out there to sell their land. It's very, very beneficial. If I want to filter for out-of-state owners, I absolutely can. You'll notice it dramatically reduces my list here. And the cool thing, though, about this is as I decide, hey, okay, not 193 is not enough, I can come down here, choose out-of-county toggle. So it's going to show me any owner who does not live in Crawford County. But what it's going to do is it's going to immediately toggle off or force on, rather, the out-of-state owner, because anybody out of county will include that out-of-state owner as well. Let's go ahead and look at this, for example. This doesn't look like a road. Doesn't look like something I would mess with. A lot of these wouldn't be. This is a road here. This looks like something we could potentially work with. There's going to be some layers here that I highly recommend leveraging. Now, as we kind of work to feel comfortable with our data set, we want to make sure that we're working in a place that has roads, right? So it just so happens I found a parcel here with road. It doesn't look like there's any improvement value on it. If I wanted to, I could see if my structure layer actually, or my building layer actually brings anything up, and it doesn't seem like it does. So I'm looking pretty solid here. If I wanted to kind of keep looking through this data set, it's probably a good call, just because this county seems to have a lot of acreage without access. Now, maybe it's different if the same person owns both these parcels, but this seems to be something that I would want to make sure I scrub. Otherwise, a lot of these parcels are going to be very difficult to deal with in not only our disposition, but also getting funding. If you're out there trying to get someone to fund these deals, this looks awesome. Looks like we have a ton of people with road frontage. So it looks like those are the kind of properties I would want to keep. Matt asked, what max improvement value do you use or do you suggest if we're really just looking for vacant land? And truthfully, I just use 5 because that's going to include certain structures like a barn or something like that will be very important to include, in my opinion. I mean, these are some of these barns that you find out here. It is not substantial in buying or selling a property. Absolutely not on the buy side, but most of the time when you're selling a property, you'll find out. I mean, if the seller has that concession, they want you to take off that property, usually it's not going to hurt you as much as losing the profit of the deal. So just keep that in mind. I like 5%. If we come back here to this list and we were to toggle on for other things as well, owner zips, it's going to continue to do what I mentioned. It's going to stack those. So out of state goes on top of out of county, goes on top of zip codes. So anyone outside of the zip code will be a larger list than if we're looking at those out of state. And this is beneficial because these folks are bound to be more likely to sell and more motivated to sell if they're not living next to the property. If it's something they have to travel to, or if it's something that they purchased a long time ago and they don't have any use for anymore. This is all something to consider here. Now, when you're down here and looking at ownership length, like I mentioned, I like 6 months. It will reduce the amount of parcels that you're looking at, and that might even give you a hint as to kind of how the market's moving. Now, for structure, we have like total and minimum structure square feet. So this is super useful for those buildings that we mentioned. If I were to put 200 structure square feet and even total structure count, I'm just going to leave that null or blank. You'll notice that a lot more properties are defined here. So if I take this out, I look at my 700, whoops, and I look at max percentage of, I think it was 1, or we just call it 0 or 1. It's going to be a very similar number to using the total square foot. I think it was around that 400. Let's go ahead and put 200 square feet. So 422, you're kind of getting more with that. So let's leave that in there. Now, if I want to look at that list in depth, I absolutely can. I can click through here and keep doing this. Some of these are not going to be on that actual road. It looks like right here, this is a publicly recorded highway that's kind of like in the works or future construction. But as for now, it looks like this just has a clean road going right through it, probably through someone else's property. So this is the kind of stuff that I personally would scrub out. Now, that's the cool thing about Land Insights is not only do you have the opportunity to come in here and scrub it out within your data pool, but then we actually give you the option to go back into that data set, see what our AI scrubbed out, and actually decide, okay, is it worth keeping in? And you can manually toggle it to stay in. Not only that, we have like 8 other tags that you can leverage from as well. So this is extremely tailored to you as a land investor. I think as a lot of people are kind of on this trip that, as competition arises and gets more competitive in general in the land space, there's going to be less opportunity just because we're all kind of hounding the same owners. But I truly feel like this opens up the opportunity to tailor your land business to a very specific, type of opportunity, whether it's subdividing or seller finance or, whatever it is. But pulling data has never been so easy. I mean, this is super quick. If you want to look at the entire county at once and just do a huge range, I mean, now we're looking at everything here, everything even possible, over 2,000 records that you found this county, you like this county, you want to come scrub this county really quick. I can have this done in 5 minutes. Obviously we're talking through it, but realistically, if I were to have found this county and I liked the entirety of it, there is nothing stopping me from coming in here and saying, okay, I want to remove the landlocked parcels. I want to take out duplicate owners. I'll always keep that larger parcel. And maybe in this case, I want to keep the smaller one, just depending on where you are. When you do this, you can also scrub for wetlands and flood coverage. So you have that opportunity out here. We can use our wetlands and flood zone layers to even see, okay, is that even worth it? It looks like we do have some wetlands, but it looks like our flood zone's pretty much following the river here. Doesn't look like there's too many parcels that kind of fall into this zone. I'm hovering over this. I'm seeing the 100-year flood zone. Yeah, I mean, there's not many parcels that are affected by this. It doesn't scare me. So because of that, I'm actually going to make the call here. I'm not gonna scrub for flood zone. Wetlands might be beneficial. There's just so many little creeks and in areas where that could affect us. But it looks like the majority of the flood zone is on the edge of this county. So it's not something that I want to stress myself out by. I'm going to go ahead and, you know what? I'm going to put, if this property is like 90% in the flood zone, or in the wetlands rather, even flood zones, 100-year flood zone, you'll find out here in the flood zone, there are still buildings that are here. And that's because you just need certain county approvals, and there are certain regulations or restrictions that they put on properties in the flood zone. But as long as you are cool with learning that and kind of creating a creative structure and finding a good buyer for it, it's always possible to make money on those deals. So I'm going to go ahead and move forward with landlocked parcel scrubbing and wetlands at 90%. If it's over 90% of the property, I just can't do anything with it. Not in my opinion. There might be duck hunting maybe, but I don't think so. And then we will actually have road frontage scrubbing coming soon. This is something that we've been using internally for a long time, just vetting, making sure that this is absolutely dialed in for our users. And so as we move forward here, we'll likely have this out in the next within the next couple of months, if not a lot sooner. I'm going to give you low expectations. So when we hit those expectations with really great value, you're gonna love it. Now for skip tracing, if you wanted to skip trace through here right now, you could absolutely do that. What we want to do though is we want to give you the opportunity to actually go scrub. So skip tracing right now on the platform starts at 5 cents, and as you want more premium results, you can actually toggle that in. Now we have the best skip trace data on the market today. The cool thing here though is what I mentioned earlier is you can go piece by piece through this entire data set if you scrub it. In terms of looking at a data set like this, if I want to go scrub it and I'm ready to scrub it, I'm going to purchase that. I'm going to name this Crawford County. And I'm gonna walk you through why I would wait to skip trace. If you're using SMS, cold call, RVMs, emails, whatever it is, I would highly recommend first coming in here and putting your parcel count. That way you can know, okay, how much did I start with here? I love doing that. I love putting in the date as well. Whatever else you might need for your team, whatever it is. Once you've done that, you'll actually start that process. It'll actually kick off the scrub job here on your screen. It'll state export in progress. Once that's done, you'll actually be able to leverage the platform to go right back into your exports and see that specific export. Super, super cool. Now, as for what happens to this scrub job and all of that data that you just looked at, is if we go back to the market research platform, it's actually kicking off a land scrubbing job in here for you. So once it's done, it's actually going to kick you back over here, and you'll be able to go through one of these piece by piece. So I'm actually going to just hop into one of these examples. I'll just kind of hop randomly in the middle of the list so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. But here you're able to actually look at the entirety of that data set. How much was scrubbed out? How much are you saving? What are the clean results versus the entire data set? All of these tags, they can be overwhelming if you're an individual team, right? If you're solo, but we don't think that you should be trying to double down on all of this if you're already kind of scrounging for time. This is a means of leveraging land insights as you grow. So initially, maybe you're just using this to use AI scrub, but as you start to realize, okay, I can really dial in the opportunities I'm targeting. This is where you have this leverage over everyone else to come in here and start looking at this data set and calling it out for what it is. Is this a subdivide opportunity? No, then I don't want to tag it as a subdivide. Now, this very well possibly could be. Maybe you chop a couple acres off here and you still have road access over here, although it does look like a dirt road. Totally up to you and the county that you're working in. This is where understanding local regulations, things like that, this is where that really comes into play and really, really compounds. So you can toggle on wetlands or flood zone layers here, as well as topography. Doing that is going to be super beneficial, obviously, when you're looking through these scrub jobs that you've done. Now, as Crawford County kind of goes through, we'll use this as an example data set, but we can toggle this on. We can toggle these tags on for any of these, and I can do it without my mouse, hands free. If I just choose one, boom, it's landlocked or it's not landlocked. I'm not using these buttons, although I can. Right, that speeds this process up quite a bit because I can also use my arrow keys and move through this extremely fast. Does this look like a subdivide? I'm pressing 8 and I'm marking that as a subdivide, and I'm just continuously going through and clicking through this. It is as fast as you are, and truthfully, this is the type of thing that I wish I had when I started. because I was always looking at, the older providers that I had and trying to like click little pins on a map, which took forever. And then, if for whatever reason, let's just say you had a blip in power, your internet went out, you're kind of signed off your account. It's like all of that gets lost. Whereas you can come through here and look through the entire data set to vet it yourself. Maybe only look at the good properties and come in here and see the ones that have road access. Or maybe you want to right click and actually look at the topography. Totally possible in here. I mean, this is something you cannot do as efficiently on any other platform. There's just no comparison. It's remarkable how much we've been able to add to the platform and how much we have in store for the future. It looks like this one was already marked for subdivide potential. And this is exactly why. I mean, you have properties you would have never seen this on before you actually mark it. So the cool thing is that now I have all these properties tagged for subdivides. What does that mean? Well, I can go pull out only the clean results, which will tell me, was it landlocked or not? Was it flood zone or not? Or wetlands or not? But then I can separately go and pull out the entire data set and look at all of those that were tagged for subdivide opportunities. You can't do this anywhere else. So think about it this way. If I decided right now is not the time for me to go do this one by one, maybe later down the line when I feel like I've really done well solo, that's when I bring in a VA to come back in here and actually go through my historical scrub jobs, right? Go through and start tagging all those opportunities that I missed or maybe I couldn't directly target. That is something that is just absolutely bananas, because now you're able to send out offers based on opportunities no one else is calling out in any other marketing, and we can alter our marketing based on that. So this working in tandem with our road frontage scrubbing, which is coming soon, is just absolutely going to be bonkers. We also have other scrubs kind of coming in the pipeline. Slope is going to be something that is super beneficial. Soil is going to be something that we have an overlay for. All of that is going to just make it so much easier for you to market appropriately, rather than sending out offers that are not legitimate or applicable to the property you're marketing to, right? If we're sending out marketing at 40% of market value, there's going to be a huge factor or sub data set within our marketing campaign that offer is just irrelevant. It's just never going to work. And so with this, you're able to call out very specific opportunities and say, this is truly what I can do for you, whether it's seller finance, whether it's this a larger market value offer when you're trying to subdivide. No matter what it is, you're able to do so much more by tailoring your data set to those that you're marketing to the proper group of people, right? And tailoring them to people that you can truly focus your marketing around. There's other land investors who will go out and they'll just do this in volume without going this deep, and then they'll just do mail, email, TV, radio ads, PPC, all of these, Google AdWords, all of these things. And the issue is it's always a numbers game. I completely believe that sentiment. So you can always push more and more volume and you'll always win. But by being able to hit volume while you're tailoring your marketing to specific, that's just going to propel you forward faster than anything else. Because yes, you might get less touch points with data points in your marketing, but you're making them that much higher quality by focusing on, one, better markets that show demand. Two, right, we're going and we're looking at the actual zip codes within them. We're making sure that it's relevant to us, and then we're going and shaping the data that we pull. We're making sure that it's actually high quality data, pulling that data from the right places, scrubbing that data, making sure that it's actually a data set that's dialed in, that we're comfortable and confident with, and then whether it's skip tracing that or going and pricing it and mailing it. I mean, it is doing everything all at once, all in one spot. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to make it the best all-in-one platform that any land investor could ever use. We're our own competition here, And truthfully, your feedback is what drives us forward. So really that's kind of like an overview on how I would find a market and go pull that data from our platform. I think there's a couple of cool ways you can use the market research platform to find interesting markets, whether it's looking at the markets you've already chosen or going to our My Markets and actually digging deeper into very specific states and then looking at different data points that you didn't use before. Nobody else has this genie right now. This genie is basically telling us like how homogenous is a specific market and how can I focus on uh, my pricing if I don't know that. If I don't know if a market's homogenous, I'm just going to have to go basically pull the data from, hopefully Redfin has it, but anywhere else and see or aggregate or have a VA aggregate the price per acre per property. And if it's all over the place, if I'm not able to make any sense of it, I'm SOL. So having that in here is the absolute best thing we can do to understand before we go pull data and use our money on that. Is that market worth pricing out? Do I need to maybe switch over to neutral offers? You need to have a game plan for when you're marketing out to these places. And if you don't, you're going to be behind the competition. So Open Acre says, hi guys, very interested in the unlimited plan. What's the cost of each of the scrubbing filters per property, or are there scrubbing filters included at no extra charge? So Open Acres is a great question. If we hop over to the data platform, I can actually walk you through it. So on the unlimited plan, we actually include all landlocked scrubs. So all of that's included by default. We're actually going to be adding a couple of other kind of included scrubs as well, smaller things that can kind of vet your marketing and make sure you're targeting the right people, right? We don't need you targeting the government, maybe targeting a college or a fire department, things like that. So we'll be adding that soon as well. But the wetlands and the flood zone, those are currently at 2 cents a record. Road frontage is not yet here. I have a hunch that's going to mimic what we previously released the cost at. And the point is just to make this as affordable as possible. So using these is going to be tailored to the area you're in as well. So if you're thinking, okay, I always want to do flood coverage or wetland coverage and always spend that 2 cents, I would just make sure you're looking at the map appropriately, right? If you're out here in the middle of Illinois or the Ohio area, I would throw that flood zone layer on, zoom on in, look at the data or the market that you're looking at, and make sure that a majority of the parcels you're looking at don't fall into that flood zone. In certain places like Florida, this is going to be a lot different, and it could be a lot more beneficial to scrub for data points things like flood zone or wetland coverage in certain areas. So in terms of an extra charge, that's what it would actually cost you. Now, if you're in here looking at the flood zone, let me actually take off the building layer and the roads really quick. You can start to see how much this actually affects all the properties out here. And this is huge. I mean, this is going to be a huge factor in, someone who's out here looking at info lots. If you come out here and you're doing, this is your stuff and you're killing it in info lots. Well, if you don't know that it's under the flood zone, or if you happen to get a lead that's under the flood zone, it's not going to sell as well generally. So this is your opportunity to kind of get rid of that obstacle, that roadblock for yourself. Now, if we actually want to look at some of these other layers, I highly suggest it. I think one of the cool things you can do here is, when looking at the map, is actually toggle on our MLS layer. So our MLS layer is brand new. This is just absolutely bananas. We have our green dots here for our sold properties, our red dots for pending properties, or pink rather, and then we have our blue for sale properties. And so you can start to evaluate subdivisions just like this for opportunity to make some money. I call this keeping the lights on. In my early days of land investing, what I would do is I would find markets like this. I would call this a market. It's a subdivision. I would look up the subdivision, the HOA, and I would then basically vet it, make sure that it's a legitimate opportunity. There's nothing that'll hold me back, no specific restrictions or regulations that would really harm me. And then what I'm doing is I'm trying to find an idea of what's happening in this area. Are there more sold properties than there are for sale? Now, these comps are over the course of a year, but for whatever reason, if you want to any further understanding on this, I highly recommend you just give it a click. Super, super straightforward, super, super easy. It's going to show you the days on market. This looks like it was on the days on market. It was on the market quite a bit, but as you come down here, you'll see how that shifts. You'll see a lot of these are moving pretty fast, all things considered, and some of them are slower. So you can actually do your due diligence coming in here, looking at those that sold. This one looks like maybe it had structure on it, but you can come in here and look at all of these vacant land comps to help you understand, at least when you are looking at a market, does it hold up to your standard? And then potentially, if you want to use this as a market research tool as well, it's totally possible. There are some folks out there who will look by comps and Redfin, look for the comps and say, okay, well, where do they outscale the for sale properties? This is your opportunity to go find those places super easily. And you can see very easily, there are places where, these comps really huddle up. So I'm going to let you guys search for that if you're a user. If you're not, you need to be booking a demo with our team. I'm going to put that link back in the chat. One other thing that I would say, though, is when you're looking at all these comps, if we want to give them a click and do due diligence because we got a lead in this area, this becomes so much more beneficial than just searching around Redfin. We know where our parcel is. So if we wanted to come in here and let's say that one of our, we had this parcel here and we wanted to look that up, right? Actually, I didn't even catch the county. So if we wanted to look that up, we absolutely could. Throw the APN in there. It'll pull us right back to that parcel. And then we're looking at that in comparison to all these MLS comps right next to it. So we can immediately start doing our due diligence. If we wanted to click out and click into those different parcels, we could, or those different comps, we could. We could see everything that pops up here. And go through it. And this is the type of thing that I wish was even available. So it'll fast track you and your team to doing all of your due diligence. And as you grow your team, this only becomes more and more efficient. So there's a lot to come here. There's absolutely a lot to come. I think there's a lot to improve on, but it mostly is in comparison to what we have, right? There's a lot to improve on the average land investor's setup because these tools were not here for the past decade, right? And so when I say there's a lot to improve on, I mean, I'm talking about the fact that we still have some land investors who are county by county getting the sell-through rate for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 2 years, and then doing that for one county, determining that they don't like it, going to another county and just building up this massive spreadsheet. Whereas we actually update our database, our market research data every single month. We did that more quickly at one point or another. And we just realized there's just not that much change in the data. 1 month is the absolute highest leverage, most value to our users. And so we're making sure that this is consistently in absolute sync with what's happening in the market, scrubbing out, massaging those off-market comps out of the data set, so you're not confused as to where everyone is. Is this all off-market land investors trying to acquire properties? What is happening? This is just completely bananas in terms of what we have currently, and then what we have in store as well. Open Acres asks, got it, thanks. Okay. Slope and road frontage filters cost, or what will they included with landlocked scrubs? So they will likely be separate. Scrubs. I will say that slope and road frontage are going to be extremely beneficial in certain areas in the United States. But you won't find me using that slope scrub in Oklahoma or a lot of places in Texas, right? So something to consider. Now, they're projected to be added to the software within the coming months here. Both of them probably faster than that, but I do want to emphasize that we're here to build off of feedback. So, this is a platform that was really born from the need of having a better way to do things. And as we released initially, we released as a spreadsheet, okay, pure spreadsheet in Tableau. And the issue that we had with that is that nobody could actually visualize their data. So what did we do? We added a map to it. It was still in Tableau. There were so many limitations, and our users were constantly giving us feedback on what could potentially be a part of this. We launched V2 in late March of 2023, and doing that was really the current iteration of what you see here, but with so many less features. I'm telling you, on Monday of 1 week, we had a user saying, well, I'd like to see the overlays of topography, flood zone, or wetlands when I'm doing my market research, so that when I go scrub, I know not to scrub for flood zone if my entire market's in flood zone. And by Wednesday or Thursday, we had that in here. I mean, this is a true testament to how much we want to improve not only our own land businesses, but the land businesses of all of our users. We have a great community. And joining Land Insights, I will say you get added to a private Discord channel, and everyone in there can leverage each other. You can talk to each other, you can meet each other, and just find out how other people are kind of doing this land business. Make connections. I'll go ahead and be the first to say that Sumner Healey does an absolute amazing job at building you up to understand this is very much possible, especially with Land Insights. But in general, it is more possible than I think the average person could ever believe it to be. So the fact that we have tools on top of it, right, on top of the fact that you could just go to Redfin, you could just go to Zillow and start calling up expired listings or old listings. On top of all that, we have a tool that pushes us so granular that you can start pulling data for counties back to back to back. You could have thousands and thousands and thousands of records ready and scrubbed by the time it's ready for lunch. I mean, you're ready for lunch. It's incredible. For whatever reason, I'm seeing my scrub job still not done yet, but we might have to leave that for another call. I'll have to go through Crawford County and go through a scrub call or something like that at a later date. For now, it looks like this is going to be all we have time for. Really appreciate you all joining. Really appreciate you chiming in. If you have any questions or any concerns, any feedback, anything at all, just reach out to us at hello@landinsights.co. Super excited for what we have to come. I've said it before, but we're our biggest competition. We're always trying to push ourselves to outdo ourselves here. We have great users, and our users have great feedback. Everybody comes from such a different arena when it comes to business, professionalism, and life. So we look for all those different pieces of feedback, different ideas of how you can accomplish success in this business, and we implement them here on our platform. Now, when it comes to the experience you get, not only are you onboarded, but you get an entire course that is dedicated to making sure you not only understand the market research platform and every feature within it, but that you also fully understand the data platform. These are videos that I actually lead. I make them, and I go granular, step by step, to make sure you have no questions at the end of it. If you do have questions, I'm always available to hop on a phone call with you and break it down. So this is really just an extension of what you can expect from our platform. It's the care that we put into your experience as a user. And if you ever have any issues or questions, you're not left hanging. You're there to be someone we want to help, right? We're there to be someone you can leverage for help. We never want you to feel like there's any confusion on where you should be looking or what you should be doing. So we'll do that. We'll tailor this experience to what you want to accomplish. If it's general, we talk in general sense. If it's very specific and granular to info lots, we'll talk in reference to that. If it's subdivides, we'll show you how to find the value add opportunities using the data points we have and the different views that we have. So there's tons of different ways that we see our users win, and it's all based on what you want to accomplish yourself in your own land business. All right, I'm going to go ahead and And Nathan, you can actually sign up. There's a link here in the chat. I'll actually post it here again. I highly recommend just going for a demo. Pete will help you understand exactly what this platform can offer you. He kind of looks at your business a little bit and just makes sure he vets that we're the right choice. If you know that you're the right choice, I highly recommend just going and booking a call with Pete in the next day or so before Thanksgiving, and making sure that you have a clear idea of everything that you're hopping into, because when you opt in, you sub to Land Insights, you're really joining an incredible journey. I mean, something super super exciting, next level that I don't think we could ever thought we would be doing. And honestly, there's no comparison to what we're doing here at Land Insights. So super excited to see your name come through, Nathan. Really hope to talk to Pete and see that you've made the jump. But anybody else out there making the consideration, I don't know what more you could wait for. I mean, we have nothing but time. But 2025 is coming up rapidly. You need all the best tools you could ever have, and we have, fortunately, political atmosphere that should benefit the real estate market. So, this is your opportunity to hop in. We have limited seats intentionally, right? We don't just say anybody can join. That we don't just open it up to a checkout link where everybody can hop in forever. We make this exclusive intentionally so that our users feel not only valued, but feel as though they're in the right room, they're working towards the right goals, and they're not going to be flooded with a ton of people who are not serious about this business and just trying to do things willy-nilly. So that's all the time I've got for today, everybody. I appreciate you joining. I appreciate you guys walking through that with me. And if any questions come up, please feel free to reach out. Again, appreciate you all. Look forward to talking to you and seeing you on the other side.